Okay, so let's talk about one of the greatest novels ever written, The Brothers Karamazov. The hero of this book, he's not at all who you'd expect. He doesn't have a sword, he's not leading a revolution. His superpower is something way more radical and, honestly, a lot quieter. He just listens.
So think about it for a second. When I say the word hero, what's the first image that pops into your head? Seriously, picture it. What are they doing?
Are they a warrior, maybe? Someone with a sword and shield, defined by how good they are in a fight? Well, that's not our guy.
Okay, what about a revolutionary? Some big, charismatic leader up on a stage getting the crowds all fired up with these amazing speeches? Nope, not him either. See, the hero of this story is Alexei Fyodorovich Karamazov, or as everyone calls him, Alyosha. He's quiet, he's unassuming, and his single most heroic act is also his simplest. He truly, deeply listens to people.
So how on earth does a listener become a hero?
Well, it all comes down to this really powerful idea called the spirit of active love.
Alyosha's whole power comes from this incredible emotional intelligence. And think about what that really means. It's the ability to see people for who they are in all their messy, complicated glory and to love them anyway, without judging. That is an amazing and frankly super difficult way to be.
And this is where you can really see what makes him so different. In another Dostoevsky story, there's this character called the Dreamer. He also observes the world, but for him, it just pushes him further into his own head, into total isolation. For Alyosha, it's the complete opposite. For him, really seeing people, that's how you connect with them. So his whole role in the book is basically defined by this ability. He's the listener. He's the confessor. You have all these other characters who are just torn apart by their own drama and pain, and they all run to him. And he doesn't fix our problems. He just absorbs their trauma and gives them unconditional love in return. But it's not just about helping out individuals. No, his purpose is much, much bigger than that. He's literally tasked with stitching a torn world back together. I mean, Dostoevsky is not subtle about this. He sets Alyosha up as a kind of Christ figure. They even call him the cherub, like an angel. That is a huge amount of spiritual weight to put on one young guy's shoulders. And you can just see him stretched between these two completely different worlds. On one side, you've got the Karamazov house, which is basically hell on earth, total chaos and fighting. And on the other, you have the monastery, this symbol of spiritual heaven. Alyosha is the one who has to walk between both. So his mission, really, is to be the thread that can somehow stitch these two worlds together, and he's starting with his own broken, torn-apart family. He's meant to be the spiritual glue in a world that's just actively falling apart at the seams. But Dostoevsky doesn't write about simple saints. Alyosha's faith, his whole view of the world, is about to get hit with a brutal test. And it all starts with this literal whiff of corruption. So here's the setup. His mentor, this incredibly wise and holy man named Zosima, has just died. And Alyosha, in his pure, idealistic way, is absolutely convinced a miracle is about to happen. He believes the body of such a saintly man won't decay. It will be incorruptible. And then, reality hits hard. The miracle doesn't happen. In fact, the exact opposite happens. The body starts to rot. And the smell of decay, this whiff of corruption, fills the entire room. It's so painfully literal, and it just shatters his faith. This whole moment forces this terrifying question on him. If faith doesn't produce magic, if it can't protect us from the ugly reality of death and decay, then what is it even for?
But here's the thing. It's this exact crisis, this disillusionment, that actually allows Alyosha to grow up. His breakdown is the doorway to a much deeper, more real kind of belief. A faith that's actually designed for the real world. And he has this huge realization. He gets it. True faith isn't about sitting around waiting for miracles. It's not some kind of magic shield that protects you from how harsh reality can be. So his transformation basically happens in 3 steps. First, he has to confront corruption, the smell, the reality, head on. Then, he has to reject that childish idea that faith is supposed to be magic. And once he does that, he can finally choose active love, not as some abstract idea, but as something you do every single day. And this, right here, is the central point of the whole novel.
Alyosha finally understands why his mentor told him to leave the monastery in the first place. Because true spirituality can't be locked away somewhere safe. It has to be lived, it has to be tested, right out there in the muddy reality of daily life.
In the end, Alyosha's journey shows us that faith isn't about escaping all the world's corruption. It's about finding the strength to love the world despite it. And that leaves all of us with a pretty powerful question to think about. If faith isn't magic, then what is it really for?